So, crypto has been quite volatile lately, so I wanted to host this live stream to just go over a few things that I'm looking at. We're just going to do a little Bitcoin analysis, including a little bit of time analysis, which is something I don't typically do here. But there are some interesting things that I just want to mention and I think are worth paying attention to. And obviously, as always, I'll take a look at the MDX ALGO indicators. And of course, feel free to ask any questions if you have any about the settings or features or anything like that. I'll obviously do my best to answer them. And with that, feel free to give altcoin requests in the chat box or hop on the mic, whatever. Pretty casual here. So yeah, we'll just see what I'm seeing, what the indicators are seeing, and that kind of thing. So with that, let's hop right into it. Taking a look at my 4-hour Bitcoin chart, and I have been posting this on Twitter and as well in the Discord, that I think there's actually a chance that we're in this little, well, I shouldn't say little, this quite a large channel here. And nothing has really changed in my opinion with this dump that we had. Yes, a lot of people got blindsided by that. Even though you guys know I am basically a bull at these times, I guess. You guys know for a while now I've been nothing but bullish, and I did actually snipe a decent little short there. And so I'm not permanently a bull, or even though I'm bullish right now, I was okay to play a short at these levels here when we did take this tumble down. Because you guys know my thoughts on this. I thought that if we do end up losing this support here, flipping it into resistance, I thought there was a good chance that we test our higher low, which you guys all know by now. I've been pointing out this green horizontal line. That would be this level here, because we obviously had this range with a high here, and we broke it with this range high here. Lowest point between those two is this area right here. So that's the important higher low that I'm currently interested in watching. And again, this is a 4-hour chart. But I mean, the way I'm looking at it right now, I do like diagonal lines quite a bit too, quite often when we get perfect respect of the wicks. So like this here, we have our first touch point, second touch point, this third touch point here. For one, we never had 3 touch points before breaking this level. And this just looks like it could be a failed break to me. I mean, the fact that we have those 2 perfect touch points, and then we did break below that line, but it was just a wick. We never got any candle body closes below that. And even zooming right into the 5-minute, I mean, you can see that we never even had a 5-minute candle close below that level. So I actually did take along with the retests of that level, just because that'll usually happen. You get your fake out and then you get some sort of a retest, stop loss a little bit below the local low at that point, to just basically an invalidation point. But yeah, I don't think this looks too bad, the fact that that happened there. Obviously, we're going to have to see, because I mean, I can bring up the indicators here. This is just the 5-minute, remember. You can see that the trend confluence, this would be the hourly trend confluence coming down here. And you can see when we got near those levels, that's basically where Bitcoin ended up getting rejected to the downside here. And that's a perfect example of why I love playing these trend confluences when I'm looking for entries. I give a lot more weight to getting towards those trend confluences versus finding the long and short signals on the indicator. But that's just me personally, because then I just feel like you have a nice tight stop loss. I never did short this level here. But you know, you could be looking to play this short near the trend confluence and stop out just above the basically the range highs as an invalidation point. But yeah, so that's where I love to look for entries when I'm using these indicators here. But yeah, as I mentioned, I still think that even though on the short time frames there it doesn't look too great, I still do like that the 4-hour is holding that trajectory that I was pointing out there. And like I said, even if we do drop this level, we would have to really watch what happens down at this green box here, because that's where structure begins to change if we break these levels. If it's just a wick below, I would treat that as a failed break once again. But if we actually close candle bodies below this level, that's where things get a little bit scary to me. I mean, yes, Bitcoin did create this little bit of support back here as well. So at least there is that. As we drop these levels, at least Bitcoin has done a great job of forming a little bit of support on the way. If I bring up the MDX ALGO 3, I mean, it agrees with with me with these demand zones here. You can see my green boxes are basically where they have theirs. The demand zones are a little bigger than my boxes, but yeah, it's nice to see that they're lining up there. Nice to have that confluence, that confirmation from the indicator. So those are a couple levels that I'd be interested in watching, but really this is the one that I'm very interested in, just because, like I said, that could change the structure of the chart and it could really throw the bulls for a loop there. But as it stands right now, I mean, I would totally see no reason why the bulls couldn't get some kind of a bounce at this level. Obviously doesn't have to happen. None of this is financial advice. Do your own research. But just looking at this failed break here, I mean, if we do get a bounce here, I think it would absolutely make sense that we start retesting some of these higher levels, this resistance up here, or even this higher level here. Or like I said, I think there's a good chance that this range is a possibility. And if we get a third touch point, even if we get rejected from that point, I mean, that's where we start targeting some of those higher levels, 26, even, I mean, really, you guys know that I'm targeting prices much higher if this trend is to continue. But yeah, I totally don't think that this range is too unrealistic. Could even, well, it could end up being a massive bull flag here. Obviously, we're going to have to see what happens with that. And that's a lot of speculation at this point. But like I said, Algo 3, it is pointing out a bunch of resistance. Again, I have my boxes here. The Algo 3 basically saying this entire range above us is resistance. And, you know, looking at the 4-hour chart here, we also got a bearish cross of this trend confluence here. So that's something I don't want to take too lightly. There is the possibility that it's a fake out, just like we got back here. Obviously, it got broken very quickly once again after it had that bit of a fake out. So maybe the bulls do carry on with their trend to the upside and we do break through that. If we do, I'm expecting a very nice move to the upside. But like I said, we're going to have to see. The market flow is curling to the downside. The 21 EMA on the 4 hours is curling to the downside. We got this bearish cross. So a few things to be cautious of. But as I see it, I mean, this is a nice tight area to enter a long position. And like I said, if we end up dropping down to these levels here, I mean, some kind of a failed break, I think would be good for at least some kind of a snipe. Some kind of a scalp, if nothing else. I'd assume we'd get some kind of a bounce if we have a failed breakdown there. So have to see what happens there. I was talking about, actually, yeah, let's zoom right into the 5-minute here just to see what's happening here. I did point out, just make this yellow box right before making this video, basically. I have this box in yellow because I don't know how much strength, how much weight it's going to actually carry here, but you know, it is a nice midpoint of this range, kind of, where, you know, we could form this little bit of support at these levels. Also, I think it was on the 15-minute, actually. If I bring up the Algo 3, actually all of the indicators. This is one of those times where on the 15-minute chart, so nothing too crazy, but even though we do have this bearish trend confluence above us, we have this resistance up ahead. We're seeing all three indicators line up on the 15-minute chart in my little yellow box here. We have the oscillator 4 up here with this bullish pivot point. We have the Algo 3 flashing some nice bright green candles along my support box with some take profits if you were in a short at that point. So just a little bit of a warning there. As well, the oscillator 5 down here, we have this big green bullish dot there. So I like to see all three indicators line up like that. Like I said, the short-term trend here is bearish, but there are a few possibly early warning signs here that the bulls are ready to get some kind of a bounce here. And again, this blue line coming to the upside here, that's that same 4-hour trend line I was talking about. So if we start closing bodies down below that, we're going to have to watch out. But again, we do at least have support below us. I was also talking about doing a little bit of time analysis, and before I get too sidetracked, I want to get into that here. This is a familiar chart, just I cleaned it up a little bit. This is my weekly logarithmic chart, basically since the beginning of time here for Bitcoin, going all the way back to 2011. So just something that me and a buddy were looking at yesterday was, you know, I've mentioned this in the past in previous videos that typically Bitcoin likes to work or run in 4-year cycles. And I know there's a common, I guess, theory that Bitcoin halvings kind of get spread out a little further, so market cycles get a little bit longer, more drawn out. But honestly, looking at it, the 4-year cycle theory really holds quite true, in my opinion. Just looking where these market cycles have topped out and where they've bottomed out, and obviously anything can happen here yet, but I just want to give it just another bullish case, just another point to my bullish case that I think the bottom is in. If we go all the way back, let's say where our first bear market really kicked off, you can see that happened in 2013 and in December, the start of December. The next time the price topped out was in the middle of December 2017. So basically exactly 4 years later. Where we topped out this market cycle was kind of the mid to late November of 2021. So again, within a week or two, damn near, well, bang on 4 year for a 4-year cycle between previous market cycle high and that market cycle high. And if we look at the bottoms, it's very similar, you guys. I mean, back here you can see 2015, January, that's where the price bottomed out. The next price bottom out for a bear market was, well, it was about a month earlier. It's kind of the middle of December of 2018, so just under 4 years later. And then you can see where we've currently bottomed out for this market cycle. If this is a bottom, that's the end of November, exactly 4 years later. So I understand that anything can happen and that the market conditions are different. The whole economy in general is in a different place, but that's how it always feels. And every market cycle, the economy is in a different position. The 4-year theory also lines up with election days and mid-elections and all that kind of stuff. You can see that it's interesting how those timelines really line up with, and another thing, when the new market cycle generally starts. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's right before election or right after election, something like that. Either way. Just going to what I know here, I'm not so much involved with American politics or their elections, but I know they're 4-year cycles, and Bitcoin loves to do the same thing. So that's something interesting. Just another point going for the bulls, that where we have bottomed out so far, and I've given you many other reasons in the past why I think Bitcoin has probably bottomed out or gotten very close if it hasn't. It lines up very well with that 4-year cycle. And I am also thinking to myself that, this time might be different because, like I said, the economy is a total mess with inflation is a total disaster. But, I thought the exact opposite up here. I remember thinking like, hey, this is that 4-year cycle. I should be a little bit cautious. I was like, nah, this time's going to be different because all those same reasons, because of the speculation of inflation and all that kind of thing, money printing. Everyone thought we were going to absolutely go to the moon at these levels. And I was kind of blindsided by that. I thought the market cycle would be a little bit longer, but that 4-year cycle ended up being absolutely fucking perfect once again. And I don't want to rule that out this time as a bottom because, yes, I feel like the times are different right now, but I felt that way at exactly these levels here. So I have to learn that lesson, and I have to at least consider that this 4-year cycle could be a very powerful thing. That being said, guys, with that 4-year cycle, I absolutely do think we're going to see a crazy dump to the downside that will blindside a lot of people, whether that's after we retest this 618 rejection fib I've talked so much about at this important structure back here. But or maybe we just kind of get a rejection and we retest our current lows, much like what we did back here, basically. I wouldn't be all too surprised. Really, this market cycle, the way this falling wedge kind of happened there, quite honestly resembles this cycle quite a bit. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see that sort of a bottom where we, maybe take one more dump to the downside, retest those lows. But I have to just wanted to point out that 4-year cycle theory of mine. that even if we're not going to enter a new crazy bull market anytime soon, maybe a year of consolidation yet at this accumulation phase. But I just wanted to point that out, that I think there's just another point for the bulls, that there's a potential bottom there just for a time analysis thing. And like I said, guys, I don't normally do much for time analysis. That isn't my strong point, but I mean, what I do like to do is just notice things that repeat in the charts. That's what we're doing every time we take a trade. Anytime we look at technical analysis, we're trying to find things that repeat and give ourselves just better probabilities of something playing out. So this is one of those things, and I can't really ignore that. Just going to look through a couple comments here in the chat. Try looking at the EMA ribbon on the 1 hour, stuck below ribbon versus on the daily, just supported at the bottom of the ribbon. Quite interesting. Check the Algo 3 versus the oscillator on the daily as well. Okay, let's hop over to that chart that I was pointing out. Let's hop over to the daily here, see what the algos, the oscillators are saying. I'm just going to erase all my own drawings just to show what the indicators are saying. Yeah, I mean, the Algo 3 is definitely showing some good resistance above us. We do have this 3-day trend confluence below us, which would line up with this higher low that we currently have on this trend as well. Once again, this demand zone here. So that is something going for the bulls. But yeah, we do definitely on the daily chart here. Well, I mean, the oscillator 4, for example, had a crazy amount of bearish divergences, had a bearish pivot point, and yeah, that was not looking very good at all. But, just how fast it cooled off and got back to the bottom of the bands there. I mean, it's possible that these bearish signals were signaling more of a cool off rather than an actual dump. So we're just actually coming back down to the lower part of the range that we're trading in. As well, the oscillator 5, kind of the same thing. We actually had it looked the most bearish at these levels down here, is where the oscillator 5 looked most bearish on the daily chart there. We do still have like this little red dot here. I don't know how much I want to give that, because I mean, that could have already played out as well. Yeah, we're gonna have to see. I don't like that the market flow is above the price coming down, and as well getting below that 21 EMA there. But like I said, I know I've said before, bearish divergences in general are always, well, quite often a very early indication of something happening, but it can be a lagging indicator. So I don't know. I like to wait for the structure of the chart to change. Like, I know I've kind of mentioned this in the past, that I like to look at chart structure first, and I look at indicators second. So if we were to lose this higher low here, we actually close 4-hour candles below this level and then come back up, that's more where I'd be interested in taking a short at these levels. I don't like taking that early short, even though this would have been a great money maker, finding that short there. Obviously, what I should have done is played the failed break of the obvious resistance level, but I had a plan that I wasn't going to trade bearish at the time, and I stuck to it. So looking at something like this, I mean, I am definitely more interested in holding a longer term short if we lose that support level, change that structure, come back up, then see those bearish divergences on the indicator. That's where I'm more likely to take them a little more serious, just because the structure is in their favor. Whereas right now, on this time frame, for example, as we're still setting higher lows, I'd be more interested in playing the bullish divergences right now. But that is just me. Like I said, everyone trades different, and that's why it's important to do your own back testing, find out what catches your eye, what works best for you. Everyone has different trade styles. I typically trade better to the bullish side. Maybe it's just because I'm stuck in perma bull mode quite often, but I just tend to trade that way a little better. So I would definitely be interested in looking for some shorts if we drop that level. I still think it would be a little bit risky because of this support back here, but I would at least start considering it a little more if we did change the structure in that chart there. Let's hop over to, actually speaking of that, let's just go back to my weekly chart here, because there was something that was very alarming on the weekly chart, and I know I did point it out in my last video. How did this line go? I think it was something like this. Yeah, basically a very important trend line that goes all the way back to 2013. Respected it very perfectly many times. This is a very large time frame scale here. So to see that we're going all the way back 10 years ago, getting these perfect touch points, and now seeing that flip into resistance right now, where we also have this horizontal resistance here. That is a little bit alarming. I'm not going to lie. This is the one thing in the chart that still has me a little bit worried. If we treat it as a bit of a fake out and get back above these levels, I'll feel much better about my bullish case theory. Right now, this is a bit of a scary sign that we could end up taking a dump to the downside, hitting some of those lower targets. But I don't know how significant this trend line is going to be from the bottom side, but you can see that it already did reject the price once, and this is a weekly time frame, so that's a pretty big deal. So just something there that I do want you guys to be cautious of, even though I'm so bullish on a lot of other things. That is something that I can't really just ignore there. So I want to hop over to the hourly chart here. Someone in the comments had mentioned to look at the EMA ribbon. I think that's still one of my favorite indicators here. EMA ribbon on the hourly. Yeah, that's obviously a lot of resistance right above us right now, and the fact that it's lining up with the MDX ALGO indicator, the ALGO 3 here, showing this supply zone acting as resistance. A couple bearish divergences here going in there with that, so there is a lot of confluence for that. Obviously the trend on the short term is looking like shit if you're a bull, because we had this nasty dump here. Seeing these EMA ribbons catch up to the price like that, they could definitely act as resistance, but honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do end up breaking through them, even testing up higher towards this other trend confluence. Like I said, it would make a lot of sense to see some kind of a relief rally after this failed break of my 4-hour trend line there. I really am expecting some kind of an upside move, even if it is just short term, to retest some of this old support as resistance, even up higher, test something like that. Let's say a 786. Let's just take away some indicators. I just want to clean things up and check a couple Fibonacci's here. Get rid of the indicators here. So let's just say from this swing in general here, even if the downtrend was to continue, I really wouldn't be too surprised to see us get some kind of a pump up towards somewhere in that level. Just because you guys know that I do love my Fibonacci's, and specifically the reason I have these different ones, different colors, is because these are my favorite fibs. I find them respected so much on swings like this. So even if the downtrend is to continue, I really wouldn't be too surprised to see us testing some of these Fibonacci's up a little higher before getting rejected. Obviously, this would be our lower high at this point. So if we do really make a run for it, I would be interested in looking at some kind of a failed break at this level, test those levels, a little bit of a double top failed break, and then maybe short back down. That would definitely be an interesting position that a person could look at. Oh, you had mentioned the EMA ribbon also on the daily, hey? Guess I still have it up here. Yeah, it's looking a little bit messy. We are still technically holding above the blue line here, the one last defense, and that actually lines up quite well with this structure of the higher low here. Very close to that level. So there is still support for Bitcoin. Like I said, I'll be a lot more cautious if we end up dropping that higher low, but we still do have this level down here. I don't know how much that change in structure is actually going to affect the price at that point, though. Few things to be cautious of for sure. The DXY on the daily chart here, getting rejected basically right where I had my resistance mapped out. This was our lower high, and you can see that's right where the price is starting to struggle. You can see the oscillator 4 up here. It did have these bearish pivot points. The oscillator 5 has a big red dot there in overbought territory, so it looks like the DXY might be ready to see a little bit of rejection, maybe test back down a little bit lower. I don't know how significant that is going to be at this point. Quite often, Bitcoin has been moving the same direction as the DXY lately. They kind of lost that inverse correlation a little bit. Typically speaking, it's good for Bitcoin if the DXY is dropping, but lately, I don't know. It's not always a thing. You kind of have to watch for when it's acting as inverse versus actually correlated 100% the same way. Much like the DXY, we'd more, sorry, not the DXY, the SPX. That's more where we'd expect it to do the exact same thing. And do I have my old chart? I don't know which chart settings I had it saved on, but I know I was talking about this resistance line that I actually posted on Twitter and in the group that I was interested in seeing if we bounced at these levels because we were getting a perfect retest, flipping from resistance into support on the S&P 500. I mean, that's a pretty bang on trend line, so it's great to see it respected with a flip so accurately like that. So in my opinion, this is great for crypto to see assets like this seeing a nice recovery here. I shouldn't even say recovery, but just seeing a nice bounce at a level that you would expect to see support. I absolutely love to see that with the S&P 500. I think it was in my last video I had mentioned that we were trading at these levels, and we were talking about that a little bit. So I don't know. That looks like a perfect resist to support flip, in my opinion. I think that's pretty good for the market. Even the fact that we set this high and a higher high, as long as we stay above this level, I mean, we are in an uptrend. As long as we hold that, this would, I guess just for the midterm at least, this would be the higher low that we want to see hold as support. What else can we take a peek at here? Take a look at some random shitcoins here. You guys know I love my small caps. Looking at a 4-hour chart here, this is BDP. I've mentioned this one many times. I had mentioned it when we were looking at it with the indicators the one time. That I did think that it looked weak at these levels, but as I mentioned, support always looks weak until you get a bounce. I did talk about the fact that, you know, this yellow line does really cut this range in half here, flipping from resistance into support here. So it was a line of interest to watch for support, and that is exactly where the price was able to find a bit of a pump. And I mean, since these coins are so volatile, I mean, that's like 100%, 130% move to the upside. Right now, it is looking a little overbought. I mean, the oscillator 5 was giving us these bearish divergences. The oscillator 4 giving us these bearish divergences. What was the Algo 3 saying? We did drop below the EMA on the 4-hour as well as the market flow here. So that's not great, but there is this trend confluence below us here. So there is definitely potential support below us at least. But not everyone's interested in that coin. Does anyone have any altcoin requests or anything? I know this is one I mentioned in the group earlier to watch, that we were basically testing this higher low territory. I mean, kind of looking at the same thing. We had this high. We have a higher high. Lowest point between them is this green line, kind of cuts through the old resistance that we had. So looking for a bit of a flip there. I'm kind of disappointed that we're dropping down below this a second time here. Maybe we will see this turn into more of a triangle, or a wedge rather. Just for those of you who love gambling on real low cap coins, I mean, this one, what is it? I think the market cap is like 800,000 US dollars or something, if that. So a low cap, you might see a nice break out of that wedge at some point. That's something to watch for here. If it could, you know, get a third touch point here, break out and retest that support, I mean, that would be in an absolutely beautiful place to catch potentially some large swings, because some of these price gaps, I mean, like I said, these small cap coins, those are not small moves to the upside if they happen. We start reaching some higher targets, I mean, those are some very large moves. And since they're such low market caps, I mean, it doesn't take much money to really make those things move. XTP. Take a look at TAP. My chart changed a little bit. I was looking at this support in my previous video. Yeah, not great that we have flipped below this trend confluence on the 4 hour, but it is nice that we did get back above the 21 EMA here. You can see that as we got towards this support level, I mean, it's been acting as a very strong support level. You can see that the Algo 3 flipping a bunch of bullish signals at us here. The Oscillator 4 had that bullish pivot point. The Oscillator 5 was showing these big green dots. I mean, there was a lot going for XTP at these support levels. Like I said, I don't like to see that we're below that trend confluence. Let's more check the daily. Yeah, see, kind of mixed signals here. I love that we're flashing bright green signal candles on the Algo 3 right along our trend confluence there. That's the 3-day trend confluence. And again, right at this level, that was obviously a big buy level. So good to see that support still holding. Don't like to see that we're below the EMA and the market flow there. The way the market flow is curling to the downside, acting as resistance, could be a little bit of trouble there. What else can I tell you about it? Yeah, we're going to have to see. As long as it holds above this EMA, I mean, it really could find support and go for a bounce. The thing is, this is, again, one of those coins where it really doesn't take much to move the order books. Oh, got some more joiners in the group here. Welcome, fellas. I don't know how much more I have to talk about. Let me know if you guys want to talk about anything. Really, if you guys have anything you want to share as well, you guys can feel free and share your screens as well. Yeah, shitcoins bringing everyone out of the woodwork. Yeah, just start talking about them and they'll come, my precious. Daffy. Martini Boys coins here. That is interesting chart. What can I say about this? That is I don't like that it's trading below, like, actually, here, let me just get that real close here. The fact that there is actually some 4-hour candle bodies closing below that level, I mean, might see some kind of a relief rally. But I don't like that that structure has been broken. Once again, it could be some kind of a falling wedge. A much, much bigger falling wedge. Could see something like that play out. That would be something worth watching for. Especially if you got... let's just get this pinpoint. You guys know I love to be pinpoint accurate with my wick lines there. So yeah, to see this support tested again, that would be interesting. Maybe some kind of a swing fail, and then look at this as being some kind of a bullish wedge. But yeah, I don't know if I have a lot to say about that chart. The Algo 3 showing a lot of resistance on the 4-hour chart. What's the daily looking like? The daily, we do have the 3-day trend confluence below us. So there is potential support there, but once again, we have the EMAs curling to the downside, the market flow curling to the downside. We're going to have to see how that one goes. like I said, that might be a nice bullish wedge, but yeah, there's just there's a couple warning signs, these bearish crosses and that kind of thing. But again, these are low cap coins, so it doesn't take much money to move them. So people can definitely change the momentum of them pretty easily if they have deep pockets. Daffy USDT, rather. Didn't really change too much, I don't think. Still have the same warning signs, still below that low that we had back here. Don't like to see that flipping into resistance. That's usually not a good sign. But again, this is the 4 hour, and you can see that the market flow is actually looking like it's flipping more into support. We also have this potential pivot point here, seeing them on the Oscillator 5 as well. Oscillator 4 showing a lot of hidden bearish divergences. So there is definitely some mixed signals on the chart right now. Same with these little blue triangles. I don't know if you can see these. But these are potential reversal points. So that's looking at a potential market top. Obviously, take it for what it is. It's just one very small part of the indicators. Obviously, we had bullish ones here that never really played out. So take it for what it is. But that's just another thing to add as a bit of a warning sign there. Beautiful to see that maybe this is what you're talking about here. The fact that we are sitting right on top of old resistance here. Yeah, you know, that could actually be a nice flip there. Something worth considering for sure. For any bears out there, if you are a latecomer to the stream, this is one thing. This is the main thing that I am worried about with the health of Bitcoin right now, is that we had this very strong support line going all the way back over 10 years. And we have successfully flipped that into resistance once already, and now we're testing it again. If we end up getting back above that, that could be very good for Bitcoin. But the fact that right now it's looking like we're retesting that old support as resistance potentially, I don't like to see that on a weekly chart like this in 10 years, a 10-year trend line. That's something I don't want to take too lightly. But like I said, I don't know. As far as that time analysis goes, I just thought that was something quite interesting. Can I reload this? Just because there is a few latecomers. These vertical lines that I was talking about. Basically, the market cycle tops lining up exactly 4 years apart, and the market cycle bottoms lining up exactly 4 years apart within a week or two. Pretty crazy how that lines up. And just another point I wanted to point out for a bullish case that the bottom may be in. This lines up very good with that 4-year cycle theory. So that's something I was pointing out earlier to anyone who's late to the stream here. I think I've covered most of everything that I've wanted to talk about. I mean, we'll hop over to... What should we hop over to here? Let's say maybe a 5-minute or something. Start looking at some real degenerates shit here and see if we can maybe find another setup. What chart was that I was looking at where I had the yellow box? Oh, you want to look at Doge? Yeah, Doge has taken a bit of a hit. I mean... This looks very similar to what Bitcoin would have done, though. I mean, we got below the trend confluence like that and took a big dump to the downside. Look at that bearish cross. And then when we just basically respected the hell out of that 21 EMA there and got pushed to the downside. And I was basically looking at the same thing on the 5-minute with Bitcoin when I sniped a short. I know... sorry, not on Doge here, on Bitcoin, like I said. I know a lot of you aren't too familiar with watching me play the short side. Usually I am very bullish bias, and I like to play the long side more, but I did actually snipe when the market took this move to the downside. A small one. I wasn't super comfortable with it. But yeah, seeing these bearish crosses, those can be a powerful thing. How much has Doge just from this range to this range? That's, yeah, 13% dump to the downside. One thing to watch for this now is we are kind of in double bottom territory. Really, I like to kind of look at the entire wick. So where we found support here, just gonna make that entire kill zone a bit of a support box. So that is something that Doge does have going for it currently. It is still in double bottom territory. The oscillator 4 does have these bullish pivot points near the bottom of the band here. The oscillator 5 did have this big green bullish pivot point here. There is this little red dot here as a bit of a warning, but yeah, kind of mixed signals there. Obviously have the EMA above us as resistance, have the market flow above us as resistance. Quite a bit of resistance here to watch out for, but like I said, it is in double bottom territory technically.
It's going to be a fun one.
Oh, Sean, you're on the air.
Oh, am I? Shit.
All good.
I never know when I'm muted or not.
All good. All good. Just thought I'd let you know.
Probably better that way.
Yeah.
I might be yelling at my daughter, so I'll mute it here.
Okay, have fun. Yeah, how is everyone feeling on the markets right now? Are you guys leaning bullish, bearish? Do you think we're going to see a short-term rally here? Do you think we're going to see a long-term rally here? What's everyone feeling? And feel free to either hop on the mic or answer in the chat box, either or. Ethereum. I also haven't looked at Ethereum in a while. Let's go to the Bitstamp chart. Got the most data. I will clean things up a little bit here. Let's zoom right out to the daily. I haven't done any analysis on Ethereum for quite some time. Yeah, obviously we had that break of the downtrend. After that, we got that double bottom, kind of that retest, pump to the upside, looking much like Bitcoin. Obviously still facing that same kind of resistance level that Bitcoin's facing. This actually looks very similar to Bitcoin. Actually, one thing I want to look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Did have that swing fail. Did have one of those. It was looking a little bit bearish, but I mean that could have played out already. Let's see some freestyle trend lines I can make here. Might have some kind of an ascending triangle, which could be interesting. That would be really good for the altcoin market. If we saw something like this play out and Ethereum's about to make a large move on Bitcoin, that would be very good for the altcoin market. What else? What else can I point out? We're obviously at a support level. Let's say even a box, something. I'd say something like that. You can see that we're still actually above my little box here. Just looking at this little kill zone basically below our lows here. Yeah, what can I see? Let's hop back over to the US dollar. I'm going to start on the weekly chart. I do like where Ethereum has found support, like the overall support here. Seeing that we had basically this strong structure, this whole area back here on the previous market cycle all-time high. To see that level come into play as, I mean, the way it looks to me is a beautiful resist to support flip. I love to see that. Even the fact that on our previous bull market, we did take a little bit of a pause at this level for about 4 weeks. So it is nice that, much like what Bitcoin has done recently that I keep talking about, is that it stopped to make a little bit of a bit of consolidation, just building a little bit of structure, a little support for the chart. And that's much like what happened here. I mean, obviously it's a very short time frame on the grand scheme of things, only 4 weeks. But the thing is, in a parabolic run, to pause at a level for about a month is fairly serious price action in my opinion. So to see us finding support in this green box here, I like to see that. I also want to check some fibs here. Just say from our previous bear market low to where we topped out this market cycle. Remove my drawings. Oh, that counts as a drawing, not an indicator. All right. You guys, as I just mentioned earlier, I mean, I love the 786 Fibonacci level, and to see us finding such strong support at that level, even though we are just kind of trading sideways in a range, it's nice to see that that Fibonacci level is holding as support as well. You guys know I love the 786 Fib. Thought it could be interesting with all the Shanghai upgrade news floating around at the moment. To be honest, I'm not all that aware of any Shanghai upgrade news. You guys know I don't listen to the news very much. I mostly just draw shapes. But yeah, I do like where Ethereum found support there. Obviously, it does have some resistance up ahead. Let's bring up the indicators here. Actually, let's zoom into a more reasonable time frame. We're not trading the weekly chart. Who are we kidding? So up over to the hourly chart, for example. So we did have this high here, higher high here. So if we do drop, I would really want to see this level hold as support, as a bit of a higher low. To find support in that area would be nice in my opinion. Let's see, random trend line I'm seeing. That would line up very well with it as well if we got, let's say we get a third touch point along this trend line. As some sort of a falling wedge or whatever it decides to consolidate and form. I'd be interested in seeing if we got a third touch point along this trend line, and especially if it lines up with this green box here. That would be potential for a nice bounce entry there, in my opinion. Holy smokes, we're coming up on an hour already. I guess we had a bit of a late start. And just so you guys know, anyone who did tune into this a little bit late, if you want to go back and see what I talked about at the start of this video or anything, I will be posting this on my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do me a favor and do that. Also, sometimes, guys, if I don't have time to make a video or a stream, I'll also be posting things on Twitter. It's just quicker for me to post a simple picture, but sometimes I post some analysis. And basically what I was talking about at the start of my video and why I was leaning a little bit bullish bias right now with this 4-hour chart, I was talking about it on Twitter as well. So definitely give me a follow there. It's a little quicker than watching a whole video. So sometimes if I don't have the time to explain everything in detail, you'll find it here, as well as the random stuff I feel like throwing at you. Let's take a look at the old legend board. Oh, I am in first on the new weekly. You guys, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I actually gave the previous monthly. I got second place. I never got first, but I gave the prize away just to get somebody another month for free, basically put it towards another month for their subscription. They had a wedding this month, so wanted to do something nice for the community if I won there. So gave that away. Unfortunately, I'm an idiot and I forgot to sign up for this month, so there'll be nothing there, but hopefully keep bringing some in on the weekly here. Just another really fun part of being a part of the MDX Crypto's private Discord community. Also has these legend boards, basically a fantasy portfolio. You just make a portfolio of altcoins. You don't actually pay any money. It's just something for free he throws on. So you can you can make your premium membership back and then some if you play your cards right on these. So very cool. Definitely get involved with that. For anybody interested in these indicators that I've been talking about, I do have a referral link in my description down below and in the comments for a 15% discount. And like I said, on top of the indicators, if that is something that you want to give a try to, definitely get involved with the Discord VIP as well, because honestly, I find that there's probably even more value talking with all the wonderful active traders. Super helpful community to be a part of. And on top of that, like I said, the legend board there. So quite a few little extra bonuses on top of these indicators. Very cool community to be a part of. I think it's a very special thing that we have going. So it's awesome that you guys are always here to join me on these streams and stuff. Just love being a part of this community. So thank you to everybody involved. With that, I am going to wrap up this stream. I think we've been going for about an hour. I might hang out and chat if anyone wants to just hang out and chat for a little bit while I upload stuff. I'll stick around for a little bit, but yeah, I don't think I had anything else I needed to go over unless anyone has any last minute questions. But yeah, anyways, friends, obviously none of this has been financial advice. Always do your own research to form your own opinions. But if you appreciated this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button. And like I said, subscribe if you haven't. If the indicators I use interest you, like I mentioned, there's a referral link for a 15% discount down below. And that gets you into MDX Crypto's private Discord with the other fine traders here with me at this very moment. So with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.